What up, what up, what up, poop shoot? Comics review for, what month is this? June? June 2021, yeah. I'm even working, and I don't know what friggin' day or month or year it is, right? So that's not great, but hey, I'm getting by. But anyways, went to Heroes at the start of June, got my latest batch of comics, and it was a pretty sizable one, especially on the Transformers side of things. So we will get into it first with the lone issue in my Ninja Turtles world, and that is the third issue of The Last Ronin. And if you can't tell, these ones are thicker stock, and they're a little bigger than a normal sized comic, just to give you a bit of an idea. See, it's a little taller and a little wider too, so they're a little bit bigger and thicker, and so they don't fit the bags exactly, so which is kind of not good, but it is what it is. But either way, this series is amazing, and as this one kicks off, there's a bit of a flashback to when Oroku Hiroto, who is Karai's son, or the Shredder's grandson, a flashback to when he became the leader of the Foot Clan, after his mother's, she's not dead, she's in a coma or whatever's going on with her. So the ceremony when he became leader of the Foot Clan, and then it fast forwards back to present times, and he sends out an announcement all over the city, and this is a more futuristic landscape that they're living in right now, that he's declaring martial law over the city after the recent events of The Last Ronin, Michelangelo making an attempt on his life in his big tower. In the meantime, as for Michelangelo, he is back with April after this failed attempt, and he, nursing his injuries and everything, and after meeting April's daughter Casey. So he's back there and mulling things over. He's having a lot of flashbacks about that event that destroyed his brothers and Casey, when the Baxter Stockman blew up the antique shop and killed all their friends, and kind of set their life on the crappy course that it has become. And so he's having flashbacks of that, and he's also talking to April at the same time, and April surprises him with that she has the remnants of the Fugitoid, Professor Honeycutt, in her possession. And so while all this is going on, martial law has begun, and April's daughter Casey is out on the town and is going, what the hell is going on? The subways have lost power, there's footbots everywhere. So her and her group of thugs, I guess, band together and fight this off, and eventually wind up back at April's house, and they're like, what do we do about this? And they're like, you're doing nothing about this. But she's like, I'm ready. And so in the end, April says, I've got a plan. I've been building towards this moment. I know it's been coming. Look at what I've got. She's got remnants of the Fugitoid. She thinks she knows how to beat Oroku Hiroto with that information, and she's built also kind of a new turtle van. So there's only 5 issues in this series, and this is issue 3, so the last 2 are probably going to be a bit more action-packed and explosive, more so than the last couple have been. Much like with Turtles, there was only 1 issue of G.I. Joe this month available to me, and it is issue 281 of the ongoing G.I. Joe series. And I got the retailer incentive cover too, so I think that's the first time I've ever got one of those. In this one, we recently finished the kind of random tales, untold tales series that had been going on, so this is back to the normal flow of things. And I think Stalker and Duke are the main Joes involved in this one, and there's some sort of informant within G.I. Joe that's feeding Cobra information. So they set up this little convoy to ferret out who exactly it is, and with this plan, they basically let leak that they are transporting a new weapon or something like that in this convoy, in this specific vehicle within the convoy, and they have assigned an agent named I forget her name. Anyway, her nickname is Sherlock, to oversee the handling of this weapon within the convoy. So as the convoy rolls out, a bunch of insurgents attack, shouting "Al Cabra" as they do it. And Al Cabra eventually shows up. He's this mysterious shrouded guy with sunglasses and stuff, and he leads the charge. And they're trying to steal this vehicle within the convoy to get this weapon. And eventually the attack fails. The Joes fight them off, and Sherlock has been manipulating events and doing certain things to ferret out who exactly is the informant and where the leaks have been coming from. So she's able to do that, but in the process she loses her arm in the fighting. So she's in hospital after the battle going, my career's over, my military career is done. But then the Joes end up fitting her with a real fancy prosthetic and assign her to become a detective within G.I. Joe, to do just what she did on this mission, ferret out traitors and stuff like that, and kind of do an internal kind of review of G.I. Joe and handle that aspect of things. So pretty cool issue, very action-packed and very quick and easy to read. Last up is Transformers, and oh boy, what a glut of material. So let's get into it. First up, I didn't ask them to put these in my bag at the outset, but then I changed my mind. So I've only got issue 1 of this series, and I hopefully plan on getting the rest eventually. They've already all been released, and I may not be able to get them, but I'll try. So it's issue 1 of Transformers and My Little Pony. Friendship in disguise. So, crossover. Lots of Transformers crossovers lately. We all know that if you've been watching my videos. This is one that I at first wasn't interested in, but then I'm like, why not? It's Transformers. Let's do it. So in this one, the ponies are in whatever world the ponies live in. I'm not really familiar with My Little Pony, but this dark one named Queen Chrysalis performs this ceremony and drags the Transformers into their universe. And back on Cybertron or wherever they were fighting over a space bridge. So the Transformers show up. Megatron ends up in the same region as this Queen Chrysalis, and they kind of form a partnership, whereas all the other ponies end up with the rest of the Transformers. So in the end, it looks like Megatron and Queen Chrysalis are marching on the rest of the ponies and the Autobots. And these issues are broken up into 2 kind of short stories. So in the second short story, Starscream has basically declared himself king of everything. He's got his crown like he likes, and he's got a team of ponies kind of shining him up and doing his bidding. And then RC shows up and says, I don't think so. So then she kicks his ass all over the place and frees these ponies, and they have a new best friend sort of thing. So so I think there's 3 more issues in that one, maybe. I think they're only 4 issues long. So the current My Little Pony Transformers crossover is called The Magic of Cybertron. This is number 1 in this new series, the most recent series. So in this one, the ponies get transported through to Cybertron, which the Decepticons have manipulated for them to do so. And in the end, Queen Chrysalis, they thought they'd destroyed her or beaten her, but they haven't. And this new pony unicorn named King Sombra rises out of the mist and basically performs kind of like a mind control over the Transformers. So she's got all the Decepticons, a bunch of ponies, and even some of the Autobots under her control. And that's kind of where it ends, on a cliffhanger. And then the second part of the issue is these 2 ponies that are kind of going on vacation, and they run into RC and her pal Greenlight, and they get to talking, and then all of a sudden this giant Transformer named Killmaster shows up, and then they all band together to kind of fight him off and then have a picnic at the end of it all. So kind of random stuff, but I gobble Transformers up for a living. You know I do that. So, and then of course I have number 2 of the Magic of Cybertron series. So in this one, the fighting continues in terms of all the other Transformers, Decepticon and Autobot alike, fending off the Transformers and ponies that King Sombra has under his or her mind control, and that fighting goes on, and then in the second part of the issue, Applejack the pony is kind of in a Wild West theme, and she stumbles upon this giant evil-looking Transformer named Wild Wheel, and the 2 are set to have a duel. But in the end, Wild Wheel and Applejack end up respecting each other's talents and actually end up fighting off a couple of the mind-altered Transformers that are working for King Sombra, and kind of walk off into the sunset together. And the Transformers that they kind of whack, who tries to attack them, is Skids. And if you remember my unboxing video of Skids, he only ever appears in 2 episodes. So of all the random minor characters to throw in there, right? Next up, Beast Wars number 4. So in this one, Nyx, the Maximal, the little bat, who Dinobot freed from Predacon torture, is making her way back to Maximal Base, but she can't transform because of Scorponok or Pterosaur, whoever messed with her with their experiments, and so she kind of is having a hard time getting back. She's losing energy, she's getting beaten down, and then this wild animal from the planet attacks her, and so Dinobot has to come to her rescue again and saves her from this animal, but she just ends up passing out. So he basically transforms into raptor mode, throws her on his back, and then approaches Maximal Base. Meanwhile, Rhinox and Rat Trap, they're arguing as they usually do. Cheetor's in there, and then Optimus Primal, they get a signal on the radar that Nyx is in the region, so they go out to race to meet her, but then see this dinosaur carrying her, so then they attack him. But Dinobot fends them off and says, I'm formally asking to become a Maximal, because he's, of course, disillusioned with the Predacon way. And while all this is happening, the Predacons finally are able to escape the lockdown that Dinobot instigated on their ship and gain their freedom. And of course, they are hellbent on vengeance. Next up, issue 3 of Transformers Escape. At the start of this one, the Hound and the rest of the Autobots that are trying to get all these sentient organics off Cybertron or out of trouble on Cybertron finish fighting off the Insecticons, who go running back to their secret base. And of course, Hound is still trying to convince Diatlas to side with them and engage in the war. But Diatlas is unsure. He doesn't want to become a combatant yet, so the dialogue with him is going on as they continue to march to safety. In the meantime, the Insecticons back at their base have Skywarp in captivity, and if you remember, Shockwave was doing some sort of experiment with them, and the Insecticons are hip to his jive, and they're actually doing experiments behind Shockwave's back and think they have kind of mastered some way to harness Skywarp's teleportation power, which would be a big asset to any Transformer wanting to gain an advantage over the opposing side. And then in the end, Hound and his procession reaches a place called Darkmount, where Straxus won't let them pass. But Hound's like, you know what? Bad things are going to happen to Darkmount whether we're here or not. We just want some safety. You're not untouchable, right? So that's kind of where it ends. And of course, Shockwave is sending out some of his forces to try and find the Insecticons. That's also happening at that time. So that story continues to evolve. Next up, issue 29 of the regular ongoing Transformers series, which is called War World. In this one, Optimus Prime, after kind of the shit that hit the fan in previous issues, Optimus Prime wants nobody else to die for his cause, and they're marching to the only big landmark left on Cybertron that the Risers, or the Decepticons, whatever you want to call them, haven't hit yet, and it is called the Forge Pyramid, where sparks are, I think, formed. And in talking to Perceptor, Prime finds out that some Titan sparks have actually come out of this recently, and Perceptor, under the influence of somebody else, I forget who it is, they hid these sparks away under this pyramid in a vault, because Titan sparks, Titans are giant Transformers that cost a lot and use a lot of energy and stuff like that, so they tuck these sparks away, and soon enough the Decepticons are actually attacking the Forge Pyramid, and the Autobots have to escape before it blows, and blow it does. And in the meantime, Starscream, who is the one who was told about these hidden sparks, is also making a play on the kind of the control center or whatever for all the Titans that are actually in service and are up in the atmosphere wherever they are, and he messes with them and plants some sort of, I don't know, data bomb or something like that, and they all go offline and end up crashing into the surface of Cybertron and causing these big explosions. And then one team that is dispatched to investigate some of the wreckage ends up finding a transformer sticking out of some of this wreckage named what's her name? Provoke. So I don't know who that is or where it's going, but that seemed to be a big deal at the end of the issue. Last one is just the next issue in this series, issue number 30. And it doesn't quite pick up where that one left off. We don't get to find out who Provoke is. It kind of goes sideways to another aspect of what had been going on. Pyra Magna, a transformer we've been introduced to in previous issues but don't really know a lot about, goes to meet Strika, and the two of them hold up these holograms. One, Pyra Magna has Optimus Prime, Strika has Megatron. They try to talk things out about coming to an agreement on the Autobots and the Decepticons not continuing their warring ways, but nothing can be decided, and the struggle continues. Optimus Prime tries to talk Pyra Magna into joining their cause, but Pyra is kind of like Atlas in the Escape series. He kind of doesn't want to commit, doesn't really want to engage in war because he has a past that has haunted him a bit, where he was chasing after an evil Decepticon named Turmoil or something like that, who was flying a ship full of prisoners during some sort of war or something, I don't know, and they apparently had amnesty, but Pyra was sent to take care of Turmoil, and in the process of trying to disable the ship and get to Turmoil, the ship actually blew up and killed all these prisoners. So Pyra Magna has this kind of guilt or something going on, that, you know, I don't even know if it's a he or she. I think it's a he, but Pyra Magna doesn't really want to get involved because of this. So Prime still tries to talk him around, but to no avail just yet. And then, as we saw in previous issues, Cyclonus has been looking for Pyra Magna, and he finally catches up to him in this issue, and they end up doing battle. But Pyra Magna, kind of during their battle, they talk, and Cyclonus kind of loses his passion for the fight, and it also helps that Sunstreaker and Windcharger, leading some other Autobots, end up showing up and helping Pyra Magna out of this battle and stuff. So in the end, they take off, and Cyclonus is left kind of confused and wondering about stuff. And the last thing we see is Megatron saying nothing can be decided or improved upon or set in motion until Optimus Prime dies. So that's kind of Megatron's main objective going forward from this point, which isn't that always his objective? So, you know, he's consistent and evil. So that is all for now. I can't wait to go back in early July and see what else has happened, and I will be back in about a month's time to discuss that stuff. Toodles!